Hello, friends, and welcome back to another late night episode of Kirby Russia, where we talk about all sorts of issues related to Russia. Who the hell am I? I have worked in the Russian media for quite some time, over a decade, and I'm American, so I know what Russia looks like from the inside, and I've also written about geopolitics quite a lot, and for some important organizations. So who knows? Maybe I know what I'm talking about. So today's topic is going to be what's going to happen after the war. I've been kind of thinking about this, and I wanted to talk about this aspect of how of what's going to happen after the war. Not the geopolitical side, not the military side, but a little bit about some tendencies that I can see on the horizon. So, first off, one of the reasons that a lot of people have volunteered to fight is not just because they see it as the right thing to do, but because the bonuses for soldiers and combat pay is very high. For the average person in Russia, they're essentially increasing their income by sixfold, by sevenfold, maybe by eightfold. So they are, while they're on the front, they're earning a lot. And one good thing is actually because a lot of the abilities for, let's just say, money to be funneled outside of Russia have vanished. The coffers of the Russian government are actually quite full with tax money. Like, the amount of tax revenue that they're getting is actually increasing and increasing. So as the war costs go up, actually the amount of taxes are going up without the need for extra taxation, which is interesting. But c'est la vie. What is happening is we are having, the combat pay and just the base pay for all the people who volunteered is quite high. And as some of you may know, when you're sort of in the military, you kind of have like your food and place to stay, and a lot of things are, taken care of for you. So your expenses are very low, unless you already have like a wife and kids somewhere. That's a little bit of a different story. But in a lot of ways, there's these programs from the military called like a military mortgage. But anyways, we're getting to the point in Russia where we have, hundreds of thousands of men, relatively young men, who are now making a lot of money really quickly, and the overwhelming majority of them are not spending it. Of course, are there people who are irresponsible and will blow their money, especially Russian people who do have a bit of a devil-may-care sort of attitude towards saving money? Yeah, there's going to be some. But I think the overwhelming majority of this rather disciplined military group are going to use this money to do something. The war is going to end, and they are going to have essentially a nest egg set up. And like I just sort of mentioned, that they have these military mortgages, which are way better than the mortgages for normies, especially Сейчас. Mortgage rates in Russia right now are terrible. They're like 16, 17, 18%. At the start of the war, they were 10. Before the war, they were 7. Mortgages were real good before the war. But anyways, well, good by Russian standards. But so anyways, you're going to have hundreds of thousands of young men who, are definitely tough, adventurous, masculine guys, and they've got the money. And what do they have? They have the opportunity to take out a mortgage and buy stuff. And I think that there's going to be an explosion in home purchases, maybe home construction, apartment purchases. There's also been a rather logical and predictable move that maybe a lot of the new territories that Russia is the new old territories that Russia is gaining. Parts of it are obviously going to be controlled by people who are under sanctions by Russia or are considered to be sort of enemies of Russian society or whatever. So they're going to probably lose access to their land, and then the question is, well, what do we do with that? So they might just give it to the soldiers. So who knows? Maybe a lot of the soldiers will, sort of like the Cossacks of old, go live right on the frontier on land that they sort of took themselves, which is kind of interesting. Sort of history repeating itself. Interesting sort of cycle there. Very, very, very Cossack, like I just said. So I think that that's issue number one, that after the war, we're going to see an explosion in home purchasing, home construction, and we may even see a sort of migration towards the new territories, which have been unfortunately, kind of, how should we say, cleared out of a lot of human life that didn't need to be cleared out. So that's my prediction, sort of number one. Now, the other thing is prediction number two is you may have seen a lot of footage of hundreds upon hundreds of Russian soldiers in the mist before battle praying together. We're seeing all sorts of chaplains setting up, portable chapels, and well, there's all the religions of Russia. The Buddhists are there, the Muslims are there, of course. But long story short, there may actually be the effect that you have, again, all these men, and remember, men tend to be the more ideological leader of their families and all that. All these men, for who are Russians, are sort of getting re-Christianized, reborn into the faith while they're sort of free, because again, when you're on the front, well, there's the fighting time, but there's a lot of time in between that, and they've been sort of freed from the shackles of the 21st century life of your PlayStation or Steam account, and having to go to this job and being exhausted, and on Sunday you just want to sleep in. I think in a lot of ways this is actually providing this opportunity of a lifestyle which actually kind of suits more the medieval origins of Christianity as we see it. So basically what I'm trying to say is, my prediction is we're going to be entering, when the war ends, it's going to end, and then maybe there's going to be a sort of delay of a couple months as people get back to their normal lives. We're going to see a spike in religiosity, especially Christianity, and we're going to see a spike in home sales. And I think those two together could actually culminate then into finally getting the population spike that the Russian government has been trying to get going, but of course they don't listen to me about how to do that. I would know much better than a lot of people, but c'est la vie. They've asked for my advice on certain issues, but sadly not that issue. So anyways, yeah, this is interesting. This is war can change a lot of things, and this is almost like a sort of incidental grand social experiment. It really could become like this sort of weird neo-religious, almost baby boom, post-war period. Post-war from an American standpoint. Post-war in the Soviet Union was not so much fun. But I mean more like a 1950s sort of Americana type of situation coming up in the future. As the Russian economy grows and grows and grows, despite the war, and changes and changes and changes in the right direction, again, despite the war. So guys, I just see that there's these tendencies, and this is the kind of thing that I think you can really only find on this channel, Tim Kirby Russia Hardcore. So if you found that to be a unique video, of course, like, share, subscribe, and if you could, donate to my Boosty. It should be in the description somewhere, although it's probably listed under the American Villages Project, but who cares? It's mine, and that's the place to donate to. But anyways, guys, see you on Telegram. Tim Kirby Russia Hardcore, signing out.